Morning. Chapter 22, The Plan. The pair didn't have long. It was now mid-morning, and even though Eric was supposed to be at school, there was something infinitely more important to do than algebra. Saving his best friend from certain death. Every secret military operation needs a code name, began the old soldier. Hush was one I remember from the First World War. What shall we call ours? Eric thought for a moment. Bananas. You what? Code name Bananas. Oh, the name of the book. The old man wasn't convinced, but he didn't have a better idea. Well, I suppose Gertrude does like bananas. And what we're trying to do is bananas. You're right there. Let's go to work. First, Sid ordered the boy to fetch some paper and pencils from a drawer. Then the pair began sketching out a giant map of the zoo from memory. Together they could remember every pathway and animal enclosure. Next they pinned the map to the wall. Now they had the view of all the exits and entrances and of course the location of the gorilla's cage. There's a picture of their map that they drew there.
That's cool.
As the animals trotted back into the kitchen one by one, having been fed, Sid and Eric used the map to dream up a number of plans to rescue Gertrude, each one wilder than the last. Number 1. The pair disguise themselves as gorillas. Then they break into Gertrude's cage. There they stay until the zoo closes, when they reveal themselves to Gertrude and break out. This had one big flaw. Someone was bound to notice that there were 3 gorillas in the cage instead of 1. Plan number 2. They commandeer a Royal Navy warship from the Thames and sail up the canal that backs onto the zoo. Next, they blast a hole in the fence with a torpedo and snatch Gertrude. Then they make their escape through London's network of canals. This could be the perfect plan, if not for one little thing. They didn't have a warship. Woo. Plan 3. They dig a tunnel, all the way from Sid's back garden to Gertrude's cage. They could smuggle the gorilla down the tunnel to safety, but it was many miles from Sid's house to London Zoo, and digging the tunnel would take a number of years. Sadly, they didn't have years to save Gertrude, just a few hours. Number 4. The pair pretend to be the king and queen. On a royal visit to London Zoo, once inside, they say that they want to keep Gertrude as a souvenir of their visit. However, there was no chance these two could pass themselves off as royalty, however hard they tried. There's pictures of the pair. Yeah, they don't look at all like them, do they?
No, they're old.
Yeah. Number 5, they build themselves a giant paper plane and launch themselves from the domed roof of St Paul's Cathedral, the tallest building in London. From there, they swoop down over Gertrude's cage and snatch her into the air. The problem was they'd used all the paper to draw the map of the zoo. They make a dummy gorilla and smuggle it into the zoo. Once inside, when no one is looking, they swap the dummy gorilla with Gertrude before making their escape. The big issue here was they didn't have a dummy gorilla. With neither being good at arts and crafts, they also didn't have the faintest idea how to make one. Number 7. They smuggle themselves into the zoo in sacks of food. Once inside the zoo, they cut themselves out of the sacks, find Gertrude, make a run for it. The sticking point here was that they might very well find themselves being fed to a lion instead, which, although nice for the lion, would not be nice for them. Number 8. They borrow uniforms from Bessie and pose as a pair of doctors. They rush into the zoo carrying a stretcher. If anyone stops them, they say they've been called to help a sick visitor. But instead, smuggle Gertrude out on the stretcher under a sheet and bundle her into the back of an ambulance. One big problem, they don't have an ambulance.
This is really bad.
Number 9. They make the world's tallest pole vault by strapping a dozen or so walking sticks to one another. Then they pole vault over the fence of the zoo, and once on the other side, break the gorilla out of her cage. The idea was dismissed as fast as it had been dreamed up. There was a very good chance the boy would break both his legs upon landing. This wasn't such an issue for Sid, what with his tin legs, but pole vaulting at his age did not appeal at all. Number 10. They steal a tank and smash through the fence of the zoo. Then they blast a hole in Gertrude's enclosure, scoop her up and speed out. If anyone tries to stop them, they could just spin the big gun in their direction and kaboom. There was one teeny-weeny problem. This was very, 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 very dangerous. What seemed like hours had passed and the pair still didn't have a plan. It wasn't until Eric was idly staring out the window that an idea finally hit him. Like most great ideas, it was so bonkers it was brilliant. Bingo! Exclaimed Eric. Bingo bongo! What are you on about, boy? Asked Sid. I've got it. Got what? The plan. Sid clattered over to the window to see the boy was staring into the sky. Clink, clank, clunk. You don't mean we use a... Yeah, began the old man. Yeah, a barrage balloon. Ah. So the next chapter is called Never Surrender. And this is part 3 of the book. And there is a shot of some barrage balloons.
Ow.
And we'll find out more about those tomorrow. I think they've been mentioned in the story, but yes, we'll read on. So chapter 23 is the balloon. We'll read that tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.